LeBron James came back to Cleveland, you the favorites to come out of the East. And you only need 4 wins to win a championship.
You make it
You come out, you come back to Cleveland, you bring the chip back to Cleveland, and you say goodbye. 5-time champion, tying Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan and the crew. That ain't happening if you stay in LA, because you ain't.
He said it directly to LeBron James and essentially told him it's time to pack it up in Los Angeles, not to join another super team, not to begin a Hollywood-style farewell tour. Instead, he wants LeBron back in Cleveland immediately, not next year, not someday, but now. The surprising part is that his argument isn't rooted in emotion alone. It's about respect, legacy, and the way the Los Angeles Lakers have treated LeBron's tenure as just another chapter, rather than recognizing it as a historic era. On First Take, Stephen A. didn't hesitate or soften his stance. He said it plainly and directly, making it clear that this wasn't speculation or casual commentary. It was a firm belief about what LeBron should do next.
Coming back to Cleveland and winning a championship and then riding off into the sunset would be one of those sports stories.
Can I add this? Can I add this before y'all go on? This is the place where he's beloved.
Beloved, yeah.
When he was on social media doing it feels welcome home. It feels good to be home. And a Laker broadcaster was wearing a Cavaliers jersey, and he was saying proper attire, all this other stuff. We got that going on. But here's the thing: L.A., well, that's Kobe, Magic, Kareem, and cats like that. They'll never embrace him like that. Miami, because he left, even though he went to 4 straight finals and delivered back-to-back chips, they'll never embrace him like that. But this place, he is beloved and should be because of what he did for this area.
Stephen A. Smith didn't soften his words. He said LeBron made a mistake by staying in Los Angeles this season and should have already returned to Cleveland. This wasn't a casual suggestion, it was direct and deliberate. And coming from someone who has defended LeBron for nearly 2 decades, that shift carries weight. When Stephen A. changes tone like that, people listen. The tension intensified after comments from Jeannie Buss, the owner of the Los Angeles Lakers. Her remarks about LeBron's time with the franchise didn't sound particularly appreciative. They felt distant, almost as if the organization were already preparing to move on. Sports media amplified the moment, debates erupted, and the conversation quickly escalated. But Stephen A. didn't just question the tone, he took it further. Instead of saying the Lakers should show more respect, he essentially told LeBron to leave. At the heart of his argument is championships and legacy. If LeBron wants one more legitimate shot at a title, especially if he's entering the final stretch of his career, Stephen A. believes Cleveland offers a clearer path than Los Angeles right now. Imagine LeBron returning to the Cleveland Cavaliers, joining forces with Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. That's not just nostalgia, that's a serious Eastern Conference contender. Add LeBron's basketball IQ, playoff...
Others don't. I'm saying you look at the West, it's loaded. The road to prosperity is hard. It's much easier in the Eastern Conference.
The Lakers feel capped. Competitive at times, even dangerous on the right night, but not dominant, not overwhelming, not like a true championship favorite. So here's the real question. Does LeBron chase the storybook ending back where it all began, or does he stay in Los Angeles and hope one final run somehow clicks into place? That choice doesn't just affect one season, it shapes how this stage of his career is remembered. Look at the Lakers right now. What are they, realistically? A play-in team fighting to avoid the bottom of the bracket. That's not a contender. That's not a serious conference finals threat. It's a middle-tier squad leaning heavily on a 40-year-old superstar to carry the weight every night without a clear title path in sight. Yes, LeBron's numbers remain impressive, efficient, productive, historically consistent. But what does another 25-7-7 season truly mean if it ends with a first-round exit? At this stage, the stats don't redefine greatness. They don't shift the GOAT debate. They don't add a banner. That's the crossroads Stephen A. is pointing to. It's no longer about proving he can still perform. Everyone already knows that. It's about positioning. It's about whether the final chapters of this career are tied to meaningful contention or just admirable production on a team without a real...
Come back to Cleveland. You bring the chip back to Cleveland and you say goodbye. 5-time champion, tie-in Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan and the crew. That ain't happening if you stay in LA, because you ain't coming out of the West. But you could come out of the East and all you need is 4 games. LeBron James, 4 wins away with whomever you got on your squad. And I'm assuming you keep Donovan Mitchell because God knows you don't want to lose that, brother. I mean, Cleveland with LeBron, you got to give up something for him. I get it. $52.6 million option. Got to give him something. But Cleveland, if LeBron was back in Cleveland, Cleveland is the favorites, and then he would remind people he here to win championships instead of going Hollywood. Because you ain't winning a championship in LA.
At some point, numbers without banners start to feel hollow. That's where the conversation gets uncomfortable. Not every Lakers fan is desperately pleading for LeBron to stay. Some are fatigued. That energy exists, even if people don't always say it out loud. When LeBron arrived in Los Angeles, he pushed for the franchise to go all in on Anthony Davis. The Lakers shipped out their young core, Lonzo Ball, Brandon Ingram, and Josh Hart, to make it happen. The move delivered a championship in 2020, and that banner absolutely counts. But since then, the results have been uneven. Early playoff exits, inconsistency, and a massive payroll commitment, over $50 million a year for LeBron, with limited postseason success to justify it. Then came the Bronny situation. The Lakers drafted Bronny James, creating a historic father-son storyline. It was a powerful moment, no doubt, but some fans questioned the basketball logic behind it. Was he fully NBA ready? That's debatable. What isn't debatable is that roster spots in the league are incredibly valuable, especially for a team trying to contend. Critics argued that the decision felt more like legacy theater than pure roster construction. The headlines were huge, the moment was emotional, but once the buzz faded, reality set in. Development takes time, and contenders rarely operate on sentiment. That's the tension surrounding the franchise. One side...
Look under the hood. The Lakers are a mirage. They're 26-16. But 15 of their 16 losses, they've gotten blown out. They're great in clutch games because they have a really smart head coach, but they're not in that many clutch games. They're horrible defensively. It's a 3-and-D league, and they don't have enough of either. No rim protection, not very athletic. This is a Luka, J.J. Redick, and maybe Austin Reeves.
That pattern can start to wear thin, especially after 7 seasons when the results don't consistently match the noise. Many Lakers fans grew up during the Kobe Bryant era. That meant loyalty, identity, and permanence. One jersey, one franchise. Kobe wasn't searching for the perfect situation, he was the situation. That purple and gold for life mentality carried real weight in Los Angeles. LeBron has spent years with the Lakers, but to some fans, the connection still feels transactional. It can feel like he's LeBron first and a Laker second. He didn't build his legend in Los Angeles, he added another chapter to it there. That distinction matters to a fan base that values legacy tied directly to the franchise. Then there's the influence conversation. Official or not, LeBron has clearly had a voice in personnel decisions. The Russell Westbrook trade stands out as the clearest example. The Lakers gave up depth and draft assets for a big name that never quite fit alongside LeBron and Anthony Davis. The chemistry was uneven, the spacing was problematic, and the season unraveled quickly. When it failed, the narrative shifted. It was no longer framed as his call. That push and step back dynamic is what critics highlight. When bold roster moves succeed, leadership and vision get praise. When they collapse, accountability becomes harder to pin down. For a franchise built on...
And you got to understand that you're trying to take some valuable assets, but it's like LeBron ain't a long-term plan. So again, they're not in but so much of a position to be choosy if he wants to leave. It's about him wanting to leave. It's not about you pushing him out. I'm not advocating that the Lakers push him out the door because the kid's got no trade option. I'm saying to you, if he wants to leave, and he said he wants to go to Cleveland, you make that.
The farewell tour energy is starting to feel prolonged. Every game is framed as historic, every milestone celebrated like a parade, and every strong performance packaged as proof that Father Time still hasn't caught up. But the reality is simple. Time eventually slows everyone down. The explosiveness isn't quite the same. The defensive consistency isn't either. That doesn't diminish greatness, it just reframes it. In Los Angeles, where success is measured in banners, nostalgia has limits. LeBron remains productive, intelligent, and capable of delivering big performances, but he's no longer single-handedly dragging teams to championships. He's no longer the automatic finals guarantee he once was. And at 41, that's not criticism, it's reality. The issue is pretending he's still the unquestioned centerpiece of a title run when recent results suggest otherwise. Now flip the lens to Cleveland. From LeBron's perspective, it sounds poetic, a full circle ending, one final push where it all began. But from the Cavaliers' perspective, the question becomes more complicated. They'd potentially be committing to a $50 million contract for a player in the twilight of his career. That's not a sentimental decision, that's a competitive one. Cleveland already has a young core with Donovan Mitchell and Evan Mobley. They're building something sustainable. Bringing LeBron back would inject experience, leadership, and postseason poise, but it would also shift timelines, cap flexibility, and long-term planning. Would it elevate them into true title favorites, or would it compress their window into a short, high-risk sprint? That's the tension Stephen A's comments stir up. On the surface, it feels like destiny. Underneath, it's a calculated gamble for both sides.